quite a We're going to start with 5 right and 10 left. Thank you. So, good evening. So, I'm David, Jess's father, and alongside me is my wife Claire. So, I'm only going to speak for a short while because I may have trouble with my throat. Claire has told me if I go on for too long, she's going to throttle me. Jess has also asked that I don't say anything embarrassing, so I'm afraid I'll have to stop now. Seriously though, I'd like to welcome to this wonderful occasion to celebrate the marriage of Jess and Joe. And as you can imagine, I was a bit nervous about giving the speech, so I turned to my 2 trusted sons here for some advice. And they said, Dad, don't try and be funny, kind, or sound intelligent. Just be yourself. Thanks, boys. So I think the wedding ceremony this afternoon was perfect. And I was so proud to walk Jess down the aisle. Quick couple of thank yous to mention. There are many people to thank. But I know Jess's mum Claire has been a big help behind the scenes in the lead up to today, so thank you for the start. Also, a huge thank you to the Crosses for all of the preparation leading up to the wedding and holding the reception in their beautiful gardens. Woo! They make for a fantastic venue, so thank you so much for making it possible. I've added a line to the speech because I'd also like to thank Murphy, the dog, for making us so welcome in his home. A great host. So I'd like to share a few words about Jess, of course. So it's clear to us from an early age that Jess knew her own mind. Pretty strong-willed and very determined. So aged about 5 years old, while she was shopping in Tesco's with her mother, she asked where the meat behind the counter came from. And when she was told, she decided there and then that she'd never eat meat again. And since that day, she never has. That strong will and determination is something that know her well will recognise, especially when they get into a topical debate with her. In these situations, my advice, prepare well, know your subject, good luck, and recognise when you beat them. I speak from experience. Jess has never really been a shrinking violet. As a child, she's always ready to stand up for her brothers and support them when necessary. I know, if you know Jess, you know that she's someone that you want in your corner, without question. But she can surprise you. I did think she was a slightly reserved child when she was younger, but whilst we lived in France, her school held a huge open day, and during the day, as a complete surprise, Jess appeared on the school steps in front of hundreds of people. The microphone in her hand, a bit like this, and blasted out a solo of Eternal Flame by Bangles. I was gobsmacked, but very proud. You remember that? So Jess loves to embrace new challenges and seek out adventure. I remember when she joined the Air Corps at school, and I asked her why. She said, well, because I want to fly and do aerobatics. Can't argue with that, I suppose. But Jess is a real big person. She has a kind, compassionate nature. She cares deeply about equality, fairness and inclusion, qualities that I really admire in her. She's also very family-oriented and committed to her friends, many of whom are here today. So a shout out to the Hills girls and to her Warwick Uni friends who are here. So Jess has really never chosen the easy options. I'm sorry, Joe, if that sounds bad. But she studied law at uni, but to make it more interesting and challenging even, she opted for a course which meant a year living and studying European law in France and in French. Something I know her uni friends here today also did. So deep respect for being able to do that. And it's really been a source of pride to watch Jess grow as a person, shaped by her life experience, beliefs and moral values, to become the smart, clever, fun-loving, strong, independent woman that she is today. And as a parent, you often wonder how your children will work out, the life decisions they'll make, who their friends will be, and of course, which partner they'll choose. And I know Jess has made some great life decisions, many lovely friends, and in Joe, a wonderful partner. So a few words about Joe. Early in their relationship, I asked him about his work. I was curious and keen to understand. After all, it's not your regular 9 to 5, is it? So he explained. I nodded sagely, but after the third time of asking, I gave up. I didn't really have a clue. I'm still not really sure, to be honest. But it doesn't matter, because whatever it is, I have to say, he seems pretty good. But one thing I have noticed about Joe, though, is his vast collection of trainers. They're everywhere you look in his house. I think he has a pair for every day of the month. And as far as I can tell, they're all made by Nike. He's a fine brand ambassador for them, and I hope you're on a good commission. Now, of course, Claire and I were touched when he asked if we were happy for him to propose to Jess. And I remember it really well, because we'd all been to Abbott Voyage beforehand. And Joe dressed up a bit, so it's a bit surreal being asked by a Bjorn lookalike. Joe, I do have a bone to pick with you though. Before that conversation, when we played tennis, occasionally I won. Since you had my answer, you beat me every time. In fact, you play like Bjorn Borg. So I think there's a Bjorn theme developing here. Are you sure your middle name's Andrew and not Bjorn? Anyway, I did have a couple of pages written down which details all of Joe's talents. And I had planned to read it out, but Joe, your handwriting's lousy. Seriously though, I can say that I've come to know Joe as someone who's kind, generous, polite, pretty laid back, and annoyingly good at tennis. He's a really lucky guy. Most importantly, he loves and cares for Jess, and it's clear that they're very happy when they're together. Now, I thought I'd resist the temptation to offer the bride and groom any marital advice, but I think it might be remiss not to offer something. So here it is. When Claire and I were married, we agreed a few rules. One was that in our marriage, I would make all the major decisions, and Claire would make all the minor decisions. And I can say that in 37 years of happy marriage, no major decisions have been necessary. I live in hope. So finally, I'd like to share a few thoughts with you both as you start your journey as a married couple. Always be kind to one another. Try not to let the little things bother you, and support each other so that you're strong together to withstand the challenges that life will throw your way. On your journey, I wish you love, health, and good fortune. So please raise your glasses in a toast to the bride and groom, Jess and Joe.
My wife and I would like to thank David for those kind words. I've definitely never been compared to a young boy before, so I'll take that. Thank you for all joining and sharing the day with us. Every one of you will travel to be here, and special mention to Finn from Dubai and Connor from Switzerland. We both really appreciate it. You have chosen to spend your bank holiday with us and taken time out of your busy lives to pause with us and to celebrate. Thank you in particular to Bishop Richards. I know that for Jess and I, it was really nice having someone we know conduct the service, and for all the Catholic admin advice you gave us and the endless questions about the order of service. We're both very grateful. I think this is the first wedding you carried out since becoming a bishop. I think at this rate, Lily might have to wait until you become the Pope to get married. That's more aimed at Joe Curry. Now, most of you know I'm not usually one to speak from the heart. In fact, I'm not sure many of my nearest and dearest have heard me speak sincerely. Unless I'm talking about commentary. Or why the old seasons of Simpsons are a lot better than the new ones. Today, however, I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely reflect and to express my thanks. I would like to thank my parents, first and foremost for hosting the reception, which meant we could share this day with so many of you all. They also instilled values in how important relationships with friends and family are. The fact that we go on holiday and go to Glastonbury with mates my dad met over 40 years ago is really special, as are the friendships we've developed with their kids and in some cases grandkids. Mum and Dad are both very close to their siblings, and Dad to his mum, Granny Annie. And this bond's helped overcome some challenging, difficult periods. Mum and Dad have been married over 35 years now, and their relationship is one I definitely look up to. Being married such a long period of time means they do have some experience in putting up with each other. I think in Mum's case, making sure Dad's out of the house as much as possible definitely helps. And luckily, he seems to be out of the house quite a lot. Whether that's driving up to Coventry to watch the football every week, or the sailing and walking trips he goes on, which all seem to involve a fair bit of drinking as well. But in all seriousness, I'd like to thank Dad in particular for harvesting the honey, which everyone here can take home with them as a gift, and Mum for all she's done in the preparation for the wedding, the trips to IKEA and everything else. We really couldn't have done it without the two of you. And of course, I would of course also like to thank Claire and David. Not only for their help in making today, with David making all the wooden signs you can see today, Claire helping make all the confetti that we managed to use in the rare bit of dry weather we had today, but yeah, also for their continued support. Tom and David as well, Tom and James, have been incredibly welcoming. Jess and I were both one of three siblings growing up. I had no brothers and Jess had no sisters, but I think we both agree that that is no longer the case. two brothers, and it's been a privilege to get to know the two of you better and discover shared passions for football, horse racing, and also Eurovision. It's clear Jess is so close to her family, and anyone who spends any time with them can see that bond straight away. Unfortunately, Jess's grand Joan can't be with us today, but we're all thinking of her, and hopefully she managed to watch the live stream while tucking into a Kit Kat. Claire and David are still inseparable to this day, and that includes on the tennis court. But it's been a few years now, and Jess and I would appreciate it if that's been doubled a bit more. I know that Jess believes in love because of the examples you two have set. As David mentioned earlier, I managed to pluck up the courage to talk to Claire and David about proposing on the Niagara Sea voyage. I guess you could say I was asking if they would take a chance on me. Thinking back to when Jess and I started going out, I remember thinking Claire and David probably will win their lives to shut the front door in my face when Jess said she was bringing home a professional gambler. Fortunately they didn't, and I'm very grateful for that. Speaking of gambling, most of you know, and as David alluded to earlier, that's how I make a living. I've been doing it so long now that when my friends talk about luck and gambling in the same sentence, I can't help but be sceptical that luck plays any role, or in fact, if luck even exists. Such deep questions have often been pondered between my best man Rob and I, normally after 4 expensive days of Cheltenham Festival. I first met Rob at 18 when we went to Loughborough. As Will mentioned earlier, we bonded during Freshers Week over our mutual dislike of organised fun. We then lived together in various student houses and more recently in East London. He organised a great stag do which managed to incorporate 3 different bits of fancy dress. And I'd just like to say a big thanks for being such a great mate over the years, and I'm really honoured to call you my best man. Speaking of great mates, I'd also like to thank the other groomsmen and ushers who all scrub up very well. They managed to get everyone into the church on time, which was a big ask, and for all their help over the years. Also a special mention to Will for emceeing today and doing a great job. I'd of course also like to say a big thanks to the bridesmaids. I'll brush over the veil gates, which occurred earlier, and move swiftly on. Frankie has always been a great mate to Jess over the years, whether that's going on a fun night out or giving advice. She organised, as well as the other bridesmaids leading Grace, a great hen do in Brighton, where everyone had a great time, even if there was a 3 AM fire alarm. Talking of screeching, they also did a bit of karaoke. And naming no names, I'm sure we're all looking forward to hearing that in all its glory tonight. I'd like to say a big thanks to Grace for baking the focaccia that we had today, which I'm sure everyone was really proud of. And also for the designs and illustrations she's done in the food menu, in the drinks menu, in the welcome signs. She's just done a great job. And Lily. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your female insight, especially in the early stages of our relationship, where I came to you for all sorts of advice. I still remember when I mentioned to you that Jess and I started going out, and your response was simple and to the point. Please marry her. I'd like to say how grateful we are to Mal and Di, who very generously gifted all the red wine for today from their very own vineyards. Jess and I, along with all the other red wine drinkers, are very grateful for that. So, cheers. We're also incredibly grateful for all the work Steve the gardener has done. He's worked tirelessly, he's done a great job, so thank you very much. My beautiful wife, Jess. For those of you who don't know, Jess and I went to the same primary school, which was actually just down the road from the church we got married in earlier today. As David mentioned earlier, Jess and the family then moved to France for a few years before eventually coming back to the UK, where Jess joined the same school I was attending, St Edmunds. So for years, we were in the same circles, but although I could clearly see how beautiful she was and is, we never really spoke to each other properly. That all changed in 2018, much to the delight of my mum, who always said we make a great couple. Anyone who spends time with Jess will know how kind she is. She's the sort of person who'll spend all morning baking a cake, knowing she can't eat it herself. That being said, she is full of contradictions, and I learn more about her every day. For example, Jess is incredibly intelligent and sharp-minded, but to unwind, she watches the trashiest TV you could possibly imagine. If you didn't know, there is a Love is Blind Japan, South Africa, New Zealand, and Jess is an expert in all of them. Jess always looks so beautiful and polished, but she loves the outdoors. Not many people would consider doing a 50-kilometre walk in one day for charity, but Jess did it and she made it look easy. Jess is selfless. She spent last Christmas volunteering at the Crisis Centre. That sympathetic nature doesn't always extend to me, however. Whether that's feeling sorry for myself after a night out, or a self-inflicted injury on the football pitch. For every new contradiction and every new layer, every new discovery and every new adventure together just reinforces what I always knew. That a part of me has loved you from the start. We were made for each other, and no matter what, we're always better together. Feeling the love and support of my nearest and dearest, married to my soulmate and the most beautiful person I know, I think it's safe to say that I do now believe that luck exists. And as I stand here today, I know I'm the luckiest man of them all. Before I hand over to my best man Rob, if you could all please join me in being outstanding and raise a toast to friends, family and love.
What the hell? Cheers! Cheers!